We all had an early vision of what our lives would look like, and then life actually happened. From marriage to motherhood, career dreams, and everything in between, this is Life Actually with Mary Bell. Lauren Hornacek is an executive coach to highly accomplished women in finance. Most of her clients have achieved great levels of success and yet are left feeling completely overwhelmed, unfulfilled, and chronically exhausted. Many of them know something needs to shift, but feel absolutely paralyzed around what to do next. Lauren knows that pattern all too well because she lived it for 10 years. As a former project manager at Goldman Sachs, Lauren knows what it's like to put the blinders on in pursuit of a high-powered, successful career and eventual happiness. But regardless of her many accomplishments, she was incredibly stressed and unfulfilled. Her health suffered, her marriage suffered, and her happiness suffered. She didn't know any better at the time, but she does now. Lauren weaves her extensive professional training with her powerful personal experiences into her work as an executive coach. Her greatest testament is that she has been there and she knows what to do to create a more balanced and satisfying life. Lauren has now made it her mission to empower professional women to not only kick ass in the boardroom, but also have the energy to live their most incredible lives beyond their wildest dreams. Everybody, this is my best friend in the whole entire world, and this is Life Actually with Mary Bell and Lauren Hornacek. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for that beautiful introduction.
Well, it's very funny because when we first got here, we told Claudia, I was like, this is my best friend. We met in college, and Claudia wants to hear all the college dirt, which we will get into, like how we met and some of that fun stuff. But it is rather wild that we met Dickie B. Freshman year. We were roommates on the same floor, not roommates. We were on the same floor in college. And here we are now. I'm an author, a podcaster, and you're an executive coach. Like in our 40s, we just turned 40. And it's like, how the fuck did we get here?
Who would have thought? What is it, 23 years later?
Yes, it was 02, September of 02.
Not to date ourselves, but
well, we're already dating.
We go way back.
We do go way back. And like that was one of those amazing things. When you decide where you're going to college, and then when you get placed on the floor in college, and then your roommate was Berkey, Christine Burke, and then my roommate was Kristen. And it's like, I don't know, like how life works, and you're just placed among people that become your best friends. And like while we were living in Dickie B, we became besties, even though we weren't roommates. We have a ton of hilarious stories and memories. I don't know if there's enough time to get into all of that, but we are the friends, like your college friends, where you just like drank and you made shitty decisions together, and like who went missing. I think I said it on a podcast prior that Berkey had vanished in the morning, and we looked in your room for clues. And the taxi was on the computer.
The yellow pages.
The yellow pages. This was back when the yellow pages.
Again, dating ourselves. Yes.
But that is where our friendship blossomed. So it's rather wild that you go through all these stages of life with somebody who's near and dear, right? And we have seen so many different versions of each other. But start in the beginning, because one of my fondest memories is when we were going through college and we all had our different majors. And when we were all trying to figure out what jobs we were going to get after college, everybody who has listened to my story knows where I started, and hotel restaurant management. And I had all these different, basically industries that I worked in. Talk about where you started, what you went to school for, and your first job out of college, like your whole career beginning.
Sure. So I always knew before I even went to college that I wanted to major in business. That much was clear. As far as what in business, I wasn't really sure, but eventually I figured out it would be finance. That was the major in business that appealed to me most. So, oh God, I don't know. It was a very intense program. It almost broke me a couple times, as you were there to witness. But eventually we graduated. I had visited people at Goldman Sachs one afternoon, UD, scheduled a trip on a bus, actually a rainy day, just like today.
Oh yeah, University
and we
of Delaware.
sat in traffic for hours to get there. So funny enough. But we'll get to that later. But I saw Goldman Sachs and I said, that's it. That's the only place I want to work. So going to Delaware, there wasn't a ton of opportunities to interview in New York City because, again, you're like states away. This was years before Zoom, years before even like phone interviews.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of interviewing, but I was kind of like holding out, right? So I graduated. I didn't have a job. Eventually, one random email landed in my inbox. I stopped everything I was doing and I applied for Goldman Sachs.
I remember this.
Honestly, just getting the interview was a win. I
Mhm.
was like, I don't even care what happens next. I got the first interview. I got the second interview. And one thing led to another. Fast forward, I spent the next 10 years working at Goldman Sachs. It was an amazing time in my life. I learned a lot. I have no regrets over everything. How far do you want me to go with this? But
Yeah,
all of
that's
it? Okay.
yeah.
So I learned a ton. Anyone that's worked in finance or for the big banks knows that they push you to your brink, that you really get to see what you're made of. You doubt yourself a lot because you're being pushed so hard. But similar to so many other people, after 6 or 7 years, I started to experience really bad burnout. I was just chronically exhausted. I was cranky all the time. I mean, we can get into all the details, but I knew it wasn't for me. It was just, where do I go from here? What do I do now? This is where I have all of my experience. And if I'm being honest, there was a bit of identity that went along with it.
Yes.
That, like, you have this big job, all your friends have an idea of what your income is. Your parents know what your income is. And they're like, what? You're going to give that up? Like, you're out of your mind. So I didn't have a lot of support, actually, from friends and family initially when it came to moving on.
Moving on. But even before then, so again, what I was working, I was always making entry level salary. Like
Mhm.
that's part of my whole career path. I never made a good salary, but I was working in jobs that were really well suited
Mhm.
to me and my interests and skills. And obviously, that we know now helped me get to where I am. I distinctly remember learning. I don't even know if you told us what like your starting salary and sign on bonus was in the beginning when you started. You're not like a flashy person. You wouldn't go. If I asked you, you probably would have told me. I don't even remember if I
Yeah.
knew that. I do remember when we were both in our careers, I was doing event planning and you were working for Goldman. I think I got a Christmas bonus one year that was $800 or something. I was so excited, right? And I think my salary at the time was probably 35 or 40,000. I was entry level at the time. I was so excited for my $800 bonus, and I remember telling you on the phone, and you were so supportive and happy for me, and you didn't say shit about any income or bonuses that you were getting until probably it had to have been months or years down the line where I really realized, like, she was in the finance positions where your bonuses are, like, more than your salary or, like, just incredible money,
Yeah.
right? And from my perspective, I was like, "Holy nikes, like, this is incredible," and especially at the age, we were
Mhm.
in our 20s, right?
Yeah.
And to watch you and to know you as my friend, to see you have gone through everything that you just experienced, like, the high of being like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, I work at Goldman, and shit, yeah, I could have whatever car I want, and I could go on trips, and I could do whatever financially," right?
Mhm.
To the realization that, holy shit, I'm almost like a prisoner in what should be this wonderful thing
Right.
that I think a lot of people in the finance field sort of go through that ebb and flow of like,
Yeah.
wow, this is great money and I could really support my family, but at
Mhm.
what cost?
Right.
Right. So at what point in that, I guess you said like you realized like it wasn't you weren't fulfilled, right? I know that. What point did you start to really realize, like, something's gotta change?
That's a great question. The moment that sticks out to me the most, and it's actually interesting that I'm here with you talking about this, is we were at your house and I saw your dad, who also worked, he retired from finance, right?
Mhm.
And he was like, "How's work?" As he always asked me. And I said, "It sucks. I hate it. I'm so miserable." And yet I had had the same conversation with him for multiple years in a row. And I got so sick and tired of my own crap. Like, if you hate it this much and it's making you this miserable, then do something about it.
Mhm.
Like, how long are you going to complain and just sit here collecting your bonuses? Great. Your bank account looks great. And again, at what cost?
Mhm.
So I think that was when I really started like, all right, enough is enough. Like, something, still didn't know what the heck I was going to do, which was a big challenge and a big question. But I knew, okay, I need to start figuring it out.
Right. And I think that's one of my favorite things about us as friends and you as a human being is we kind of pride ourselves on not being complainers. I mean, we get a little complaint out here and there. We're very vocal about things we don't like or things we would like to change, or we're very honest with each other.
Mhm.
But we hate repeating ourselves and just sounding like sad sacks of like, "Oh, I don't like this." And that goes from careers, that's family stuff, that's friendships, that's relationships, that's marriages. That's
Yeah.
We've done that for 23 years across the board.
Mhm.
So I think, again, this is the most impressive thing is that you sort of said, listen, I don't give a shit what everybody has to say about my income, my bonuses, what I'm quote leaving behind.
Mhm.
Because very much in this whole life, actually, with Mary Bell, we go into different stages of our life thinking we know what we want and having expectations of what's going to happen. And then life actually happens. It's the whole purpose of me being here talking to different people. So at that point, you knew, okay, this is not working the way
Yeah.
that I thought it was or the way I needed to for like long sustained actual happiness, actual fulfillment, and actual health. Like you were
Mhm.
sort of killing
I had
yourself.
an autoimmune disorder. I was on anti-anxiety meds. I was on antidepressants, and it was all 100% work related. It was from the levels of stress that I was experiencing.
Right. And you are not alone in that. There's a
No.
tremendous amount of people, right? And as you transitioned, I don't know if you want to talk about like the different things because it's kind of similar to me. Like you did different jobs in between there
Mhm.
until you found your place doing your executive coaching now. So talk about that.
So the big shift for me, it was back in 2014. I just started saying yes to life. So I didn't know what I was going to do next, but I remember that year, or the county I live in publishes this brochure, if you will, this 50-page brochure every season where you can sign up for all these programs and it's for like $60. So I did intro to tennis, intro to golf, intro to yoga. I did a ropes climbing course. Shout out to Angie. She's another UD.
Oh, I
She
love
did it. She was the
her.
one person that would do it with me. So I just started saying yes. I loved some of it. I hated other things, but I started to like get back that like living part of my life, the part besides just working all the time. And then from there, my sister had a free trip, if you will, to a chiropractic school down in Atlanta.
Mhm.
So I was there and I'm like listening to what's going on. And I'm like not there for me, but like I have ears, so I hear it all. And I'm like, oh, like I kind of like what this is all about. And I was into living holistically at the time. So it was all aligned. I said, screw it. I'm just going to throw in an application for chiropractic school. Mind you, like 100% business minded. Science is not really my strong suit. So I'm like, it's not going to
Same.
happen. But again, like I'm saying yes to life. I want to see what opportunities come my way. And then I got the acceptance letter. And I remember opening it in my kitchen and verbatim, I said, oh shit. Oh shit. Because I knew like if I didn't try, I would never know.
Mhm.
And that would bother me more. So I decided to move to Atlanta, go to chiropractic school. My husband at this time, I told him, stay in New Jersey. Let's not quit all of our jobs at the same time, just in case it doesn't work out. Let's not sell the house, like one thing at a time. So I went down there for a semester, quickly decided I love chiropractic, don't need to be a chiropractor. But I did get introduced to entrepreneurship while I was down there. The person I was living with was an entrepreneur. I also got introduced to essential oils, which back then was not really a thing in the Northeast.
A doTERRA girl through and
doTERRA
through.
girl. So I said, people need to know about this. So I came home and started my own little, not even side hustle. It was the hustle. I started my hustle with that. But I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship or owning a business. So I hired a business coach. And that's when everything changed. I hired her for my business. But a week before, my ex-husband and I decided to get separated. So when I went to that first business meeting, she said, okay, what do you want to focus on today? And I just started hysterically crying.
Mm.
I was in my childhood bedroom. I had moved home with my 2 dogs. So I was in, I don't know, a 10 by 10 room. And I was like, wow, this is what my life has come to. So through the next 3 to 4 months, she was there to coach me on business, but she was able to pick up on a lot of my blind spots that had kept me stuck, both in business, like Goldman, and then also in my relationships. So some of the examples of that are people pleasing.
Mhm.
I always wanted to make a good impression. I wanted everyone to like me. I said yes to things, even when I had no capacity to say yes to more. Um, what else? I never spoke up for myself. I mean, I don't think in our first 10 years, 15 years of friendship, did we ever get into an argument? I don't
I mean, we don't really
think.
argue a lot, but I think that comes from us having a very honest relationship with each other.
Now we'll
So,
call each other out. It's still not arguing, but now
yeah.
we'll like say, hey, this thing's going on. But
R-
back then, I didn't say that to anybody
Yeah.
in my life. So, anyway, 3 to 4 months working with her, my life changed. I am a completely different person now than I was pre working with her. And also, in having that experience, I said, I remember the people I worked with, and they need this kind of support. They need to find this kind of clarity in their own lives so that they can create the happiness and fulfillment they're looking to have, but not getting from their finance careers. So
Okay.
that's how I knew, okay, I want to support women in finance on the executive coach level going forward. That said, I was going through a divorce, so I had to go like make money right away. So I did go work in sales for 2 years, and the first chance I got, it was the intermediary step to get me to the next step. It was always the plan. It was just going through the steps to get to where I could walk away from an income again and survive on my
How'd
own.
you love sales?
Oh, no,
We
no.
always say about ourselves that we're not salesy people, but people sort of say that we are in our own way, right? Like we're
Yeah.
genuine, like people, like we're connection builders.
Yeah.
And in that, you sort of naturally, I guess, build a sale.
Yeah.
But we always say like we're not pushy, right?
No, and I think that job was like cold calling,
Ugh, brutal.
sales. It it can make you cry some days. It was rough.
You know what though? But
But also
that's
the income was great. So it was like for the goal I had, which at that moment was just to like make money. Like it worked, but
yes. But
now
that
I'm
would
in
set you up for
sales
when you're
too.
doing your LinkedIn and like you're
Well,
reaching out. Like, all right, it's just part of
right.
it.
So now owning my own business, I mean, sales is obviously a component of it, but I don't think of it like that. Like I think of it more as building connections,
Yes.
supporting people. And when they say, "Hey Lauren, do you think you can help me with this?" Like, yes, I am happy to help. So I still don't think of it as sales, although technically, yes. But I guess you and I both, like, if we don't believe in what we're selling, we can.
Oh, yeah, no, if somebody tells me that I have to sell, like, this piano or something, and you have to tell people that it's the most wonderful thing, and I'm like, unless I think it's the most wonderful thing, I'm not gonna be able to do that.
No.
And I think that speaks to just being, like, a genuinely authentic person,
Right.
which is goes to show also our friendship, I feel like, has always been that way. How we deal with things together as they pop up, being super supportive of each other, which we'll get to in part 2, but as far as everything that you went through in the time and when you said that you were in your parents' bedroom and you're basically sitting there like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, that's a life actually moment. Like, I thought by now I'd be doing XYZ and, like, this is life actually.
Mhm.
How do I, like, go from here? So, we followed similar paths, right? Our college life, getting into different careers, marriage timeline, buying houses, all of that. And then we also went through relationship struggles around the same time,
Yeah.
right? So, I was always sort of a little bit anti-therapy, not an I wasn't anti-therapy so much, and I've spoken about this before. Initially, Jay was sort of like most Italian men, like not too keen on it. I would sort of do my therapy sessions with you,
Mhm.
right? And we'd work through things together and we would realize like really what we wanted was to have the support of for I'm speaking for me right now. The support of my husband at the time
Mhm.
in order like as I was starting new endeavors. I
Right.
was doing digital marketing. Is this going to work? I have no idea, but
Yeah.
I'm going to try it cuz I'm not making very good money doing what I'm doing right now. And moving from one thing to the next. And I remember you just being so wonderful saying you tell me all the time, like, Jay is a great guy, right? He's a wonderful person. And for you guys to be able to make it through this stuff, like, you really it's all communication based,
Yeah.
right? We've always talked about that. So how important was it for you going through all of these different stages from Goldman to chiropractic to this to
Yeah.
that to have a supportive presence in your life, whether it
Yeah.
be husband, ex-husband, current husband, your family, your friends? Like,
Yeah.
how invaluable is that while you're going through this stuff?
Oh, I think the independent female wants to do it all alone. The independent female does not want to ask for help, doesn't want to show our cards, doesn't want to show we're struggling. And yet, that's the worst thing we could possibly do for ourselves.
Mhm.
I think it's when you bring in your supportive people, your friends, your family, the people you know you can rely on, that's when you just get to access different parts. That's where you start to heal, right? That's when you can start to work through
Yeah.
things versus trying to figure it all out on your own. For a long time, I was like, I got this. I got this. I'll figure it out. And I didn't have anything. It wasn't until you and I got really honest about our relationships and the different ways we were struggling that I think just being vulnerable with each other
Yeah.
deepened our bond and our relationship.
Yeah, you feel less alone when you have somebody that you truly trust. And before you, Louisa was here and we were talking about the importance of like letting people into your circle
Mm-hmm.
and having genuinely like good relationships with people versus you can meet people and you could be friendly with them and cordial, but
Yeah.
like you're not letting everybody into every facet of your
Yeah.
life. So, A, I guess not everybody is as lucky as we are to have each other and for how many years and through all the different ups and downs that we've gone through. But if somebody found themselves sitting here listening to this being like, wow, I have a friend, but she's like not like that. Or I have a husband and he's not supportive if I
Mm-hmm.
decided I was going to go change my career. Like, what would you, I know what you tell them because you told me that, but like, what would you tell them? Like, what is the first thing to sort of consider when you just feel like you don't have that support?
The very first thing I would say is control what you can control. So you can try to lead by example. It may work, it may not, but if you're not holding things as close to the vest, the people around you might be also willing to kind of share a little bit more, be a little bit more vulnerable. Is
Mhm.
it scary? Yes, but it's so worth it. So I would say first try on your own. And then after that, I think you also have to ask for what you want. You have to ask for what you need. So we think because we're married to people that they know what's in our head. And sometimes they do, but a lot of times they don't. And if we're not sure, like just say it. I
Or
can't
sometimes we're saying stuff and we're not saying it in the kindest, nicest, calmest way,
yeah.
and they'll just tune us out.
Absolutely. I think
Yeah.
everything is about how you say it, right? So if you say something with
Mhm.
a tone, yeah, you're not going to
Delivery.
get your results, right? Versus if you frame it in the, hey, you know what? You did this thing. I know you didn't mean anything by it, but in the future, would you mind like not doing that? It kind of hurt my feelings. Like that's just a much softer approach where they still get the message, but don't feel like they're under attack
Mhm.
so that they can do better going forward. And knowing that nothing's perfect. It's not going to, oh, I raised it once and it's never going to happen again. That's not usually the way it works, but it's over time things do
Yeah, I think that's
improve.
great advice. I have here, does the strength of your relationship play into your ability to make difficult life decisions, which we've obviously already covered. But when I had sent these questions and like, yeah, okay, we want to interview on the fly
Yeah.
here, but obviously, I prepare you. You had a great response and I don't want you to forget it. I also want to give you the opportunity to say it,
Yeah.
but you said, I think the lesson people can take away is that regardless of our circumstances or the hand we are dealt, we have to own our decisions and our part in them. If we want better, it is on us to go create it. No one is coming to save us.
Yes.
Like, just go with
Yes.
that and run.
I think a supportive partner is a game changer. I also don't think you need one to be successful. I think it really is that inner knowing that, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this if I have nobody in my court. I'm going to figure it out. And just having that deep trust in self. I mean, when I started my business, there have been a lot of months, especially in the beginning, where things are not always like hunky dory. And I'm like, can I pay my bills this month? And you know what? Knowing that yes, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I'm going to figure this out. Like that has always, I don't know. I just have a deep trust in self. And I think, I guess to add color to that, because this is something I teach a lot with my clients is none of us are the type to just like roll over and quit. Like, what are you going to do? Like,
Mhm.
you can't pay your bills, so you're just going to like stop trying? Like, I've never missed a mortgage payment. I figured it out all during COVID. By the way, I started my business February 2020 and then March 2020 happened. So when I say like there were some months where I'm like, oh my God, like I have a mortgage payment.
Yeah.
But just that deep trust that like, hey, I'll get scrappy. I'll do what I got to do. Like trusting that I'm not going to just quit and do what? Like go back to bed? Well, that's not going to make me feel any better.
Right. But then also too, like if people have spouses that are not entirely supportive, like not even just spouses, friends, parents, family who are not supporting you or sort of bring you down
Yeah.
and I find that a lot too. Like I have core group of people who are so like I could put any book out and they're going to buy it, they're going to support it, they're going to post me on social media. And then there's people sometimes that you think are going to
Yeah.
and you've been a small business owner now for a while you think people are going to do certain things and they don't. And you
Mhm.
could either sit there and get upset about it, or you're
Yeah.
just like, all right, I'm going to focus on the people who are supporting me
Yeah.
and what I can do for myself.
Yeah.
And I also know that I've had conversations with Jay too, where I never want to take away from the fact how supportive he is, everything he does to help me, like, just keep the ship moving,
Mhm.
which is our ship. Like, the goal is for us to be able to be financially comfortable in
Right.
years forward and for us to live the life that we want together. So, like, my dream is also his dream and vice versa. But I know that he innately hates if I would ever say, like, hey, I would be doing this with or without you.
Mhm.
The point of that really is, like, God forbid he was not here for something. I hope that he knows he has supported me so much
Yeah.
and he has helped raise a kid where, like, you have the foundation and you
Yeah.
have that belief in yourself
Yeah.
and you have exactly what you're saying, that trust in yourself that you can keep going forward. And like you said, it's a game changer when you have the support.
Yeah.
It makes your life 1,000% more enjoyable and a lot easier, and also more enjoyable. You get to enjoy
Definitely.
your successes with another person.
Yeah. I think without the hardest part of entrepreneurship or owning your own business is the mindset piece. I think, would you agree
Mhm.
with that? It's that's the hardest part, I would say. So if you don't if you have someone who you don't feel is supporting you, it's just further draining that energy.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of work to keep your mindset where you want it to be to create a successful business. So yes, I think having a supportive, whoever it is, a partner or friends or family, like, to help lift you up, especially when you're doubting yourself, it makes all of
And takes a
the
genuine
difference.
interest. Even like Chris the other day when he was asked about Marina's recital, like, how many men remember, like, their wife's best friend's dance recital?
Yeah.
And he would, like, it's somebody who takes a genuine interest in you, the people closest to you.
Yeah.
Jay is exactly like that. That's why they get along so well too. Like, it is a super game changer when
Yeah.
you have that genuine, like, and Jay will do this all the time too. Like, oh, how is the podcast recording with Louisa and, like,
Yeah.
Lauren? Like, he would say Horn, let's be honest. Your nickname Horn. But he's not like, "Oh, who are you recording with today?"
Right.
Like, and that'll, and like you
Right.
said, there are times where you could wake up and maybe I have not one book sale, or I'm like, "How the hell am I getting this shit done today?" And I could be in, like, a downward spiral of, like, this is never gonna make it.
Mhm.
You surround yourself with people like you, and we say all the
Mhm.
time, a 12-minute
Can
conversation
change your day.
can change
With
your
your best
day.
friend can change your
Wh
day.
who is that, a Mel Robbins, or is
I
that
don't know who it was. It was somebody on Instagram.
Oh, okay. The
Yeah.
gram, again, the gram strikes again. 12-minute conversation with your best friend can absolutely change the trajectory of your entire day. And we've done this before too. I will absolutely verbally dump on you. Or, like, maybe it's something really positive and I just have to tell
Mhm.
somebody, and vice versa. And she will literally text me like 10 minutes later, like, that really, like, super duper helped me.
Yeah.
And I think it just speaks to the importance of really supportive people to keep
Yeah.
moving forward. Um, I think that's fantastic. And then for the end of this part one here,
Mhm.
you obviously said that when you hired a business coach, that sort of changed the game for you. What was the actual piece of, hey, I want to do this executive coaching for specifically women in finance? Like, how did you even get started knowing how to do
So
that?
I think when I had that experience with the coach, I realized that the problem wasn't me. I always thought it was me. Like, maybe I couldn't hack it working 16-hour days, or like it was me that didn't have the energy to do what I needed to do. And then I realized, like, oh no, like everyone in this industry is chronically burnt out. So
Mhm.
by knowing that, I said there's a need across the industry. I know what it's like to be a woman in finance. Like, I can help support others to teach them that, A, it's not you, but also this is what you can do about it. So that's my focus now, is all of these women come to me struggling in their careers, not struggling with, they have success, they have a lot of money, but they're miserable. So it's okay, if not this, then where the heck do I go from that? And that's the really fun part for me, because it's not about what you like or what I like, or it's about what's the thing for you. And we figure out that what together. But it's always the what's, like, the big question for everyone.
Mhm.
And once we figure out the what, then it's okay, now we know how to go
I love how
and get
excited
it.
you get when you're
Oh my God, I
talking
love
about
it.
this. Like, you are like,
I could go for another hour about, like, and this one did this and this one did that. I mean, they go, like, I don't know if I've ever had two people have the same outcome in that, like, choosing the same next career.
mhm.
They all pivot in, like, so many different ways. And that's the fun, fascinating part for
It's just
me.
the best part about you, though, is, like, you just ask the best questions. And I used to say that all the time from when you were helping me through career changes and marital struggles. Like, you never told me what to do. And I think that's really important too. Like,
Lauren is my best friend. And even like when Jay and I went through our marital stuff and like we had issues, right? We had a big thing hurdle we had to get over. Jay has nothing but respect for you also because it was like, you never sat there saying, well, you just need to like move on. And like, this
No,
is never going to work itself out. And like telling me what to do
no.
with when I hit like that marital struggle. And you are the best at just basically giving people the freedom and the ability to sort of get out of their own way. And then you ask these fantastic questions that just really help people to like figure it out on their own, but with the assistance that they need,
Yeah.
obviously.
Just with a little bit of like guidance to help them get there.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
women in finance, obviously if this is hopefully we have a bunch listening. I'll do a bunch of these clips. It's incredible what you provide them, obviously. But where can people find you? Because we'll wrap this up for right now, but then we'll start
Sure.
part 2. But where, if they're watching this
Sure.
episode, part 1, where can people find you?
The 2 best places to find me are on LinkedIn, Lauren Hornacek, Hornacek. I'm the only one. And if not there, my email address. So it's coaching@laurenhornacek.com.
Fantastic. I'm so fucking proud of you.
Thank you. Love you.
Part 2, I have it titled here. I'm usually not good at titling things. Oh, no, I'm just telling them. I love having these offline convos with Claudia. I'm very horrible at not paying attention to him. The next one, a little bit more into like our friendship. The Sisters We Choose is what I titled it. So stay tuned next week for part 2. Thanks so much for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share, follow the full journey on social media at the handle married.bell.books. And if you have need for audio-visual content creation and recording services, Cayi Visions is located in Stamford, Connecticut, and can also be found on Instagram at CAYI Visions.